Hello and welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt. That's Christy.
Hi.
We are going to start off this week. We know we missed last week. There's been a lot of things going on. Our first review this week, the coronavirus, the global pandemic. This is a big deal. You've probably heard about it. In fact, our own Alonzo Duralde, although we don't think he has it, he has been feeling a little under the weather and
he's
is
fine.
Quarantining.
He's fine.
The big star of this so far has been Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson.
Oh my God.
It's somewhat of a sequel, I think, because Hanks is now stuck on an island with Wilson again. And look,
the jokes really do write themselves. We have to laugh so we don't cry.
To be clear, our hearts go out to, I think I speak for all of us when I say our hearts go all out to the people that have fallen ill and have lost family members to the coronavirus. This is pretty terrifying. If you need to go to the store.
Have you gone to Costco recently?
I have not. I went to the grocery store earlier in the week and it was okay. But then my wife and kid went last night and they said that there was hardly anything there. So
Trader Joe's
suddenly the preppers aren't so funny anymore.
Yeah. I've not gone to the grocery store.
And sorry, the one more thing I'm going to say is that, yes, we know that this is a serious thing. Part of how we deal with this stuff is laughing about it because you have to.
With everything.
I mean, look, on a similar note, somebody I know pretty well got stabbed the other day. And
oh my God.
Yeah, there was, I don't know if you saw the news story about the guy jogging in Studio City that got stabbed by the homeless person.
No. It's a friend of yours?
A friend of mine. And
oh my God.
We've been joking about that.
Is he okay?
He's okay. I mean, he's as okay as you get after being a 70-year-old that's been stabbed.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is my friend. He's like 6'4" and he's like built like a Mack truck. I mean, I like imagine a bigger, tougher version of, what's his name that played Hellboy?
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Like this guy is in the Ron Perlman, he's from New York. He's this big dude. And yes, he's 70, but like the headline's like grandfather gets stabbed. I'm like, no. Big dude gets stabbed.
Gets stabbed.
Anyway, but he's okay. And we've been joking about that. So
it's a crazy time.
Some of us joke about tragedy.
So no, my family always has. This is how we get through things. So Nick is here in the background because, hi, says Nick, because our schools have been shut down in Palos Verdes today. LA schools got shut down. We're going to talk about the many, many ways in which this virus has impacted the way we live our lives. I realize this is not necessarily part of what you tuned in for as in a film review podcast, but it's completely relevant because so much of what we were planning to review and discuss, like we're not going to be able to for quite some time. And it's having these awful ripple effects. Like I have a list. I have a giant long list that we're going to go through of all the things that got canceled. Should we do that now?
Well, so I'll kind of segue into this list first with the movies because this would normally, if things had been scheduled normally, first of all, we would have probably done more. We missed last week. There were a variety of reasons for that. This week would have been caught up, and the 3 new movies that were slated to release this week are Bloodshot, which didn't get screened, so we'll catch up with that whenever, and The Hunt, which we did see, and My Spy was supposed to open today, but that got moved back to April because No Time to Die got moved back.
Right.
But since then, the next couple of weeks is going to be crazy because all the big movies got moved back.
Right. So like we were supposed to have seen A Quiet Place 2 on Monday, and that was supposed to have opened next Friday, but that got bumped. John Krasinski on Twitter had a very, he struck just the right tone saying this is a movie that is meant to be experienced with a crowd, and we want that to happen, and so we're going to postpone it until the optimal time. We were supposed to have seen Mulan on Thursday night. That is clearly not happening. That has gotten postponed indefinitely. So among the many things, I'm just going to go through my list, and there's not really any kind of order to it, but like South by Southwest, Tribeca, TCM Fest, and Ebert Fest all got canceled. South by Southwest had to lay off a third of its full-time staff.
Wow.
Because of this. A good friend of mine, Matt Dentler, who used to run South by Southwest, who now is at Apple TV, wrote on Twitter, he said, I don't mean to sound alarmist, but South by Southwest shutting down is tantamount to all the Broadway shows in New York shutting down, which has also happened now, or all of Las Vegas casino shutting down for a week, which has not happened yet, but should, because think about all the piggy paws touching all those slot machines.
So what has happened though is a bunch of the buffets at the major casinos have shut down. I think I have to imagine that a lot of those casinos are going to end up at least greatly pulling back on what they have open and what's allowable, right? Because not just the slots, like all the table games and stuff, like
You're touching dice.
You're touching dice, and so it'll be like, not that I know what this was like, but it'll be like the 4:30, 5 a.m. in the morning casino where there's like one craps table, if that, and 2 blackjack tables, and maybe, yeah, it's going to be, so speaking of Vegas, CinemaCon got canceled.
I was about to get to that next. WonderCon and CinemaCon have been canceled.
WonderCon got canceled. Coachella got canceled.
Coachella and Stagecoach both got pushed to October.
Right. Or at least.
That's next on my list.
So they've said things in October. Who knows if those will actually happen? Because, for instance, with music, right, there's a lot of bands that will do their scheduling around both South by and Coachella. And they may have now, first of all, who knows if they're even going to tour, right? But when those dates start getting moved around, it's not as simple for a band to just say, oh, sure, we'll do it in October, because they may have other stops on the tour that they've committed to. And it's not very easy to just say, oh, I'm not going to go to this other location across the country. It's not, it gets very complicated, right?
And there are factors out of their own control. Like, let's say you're in a city where they said you can't have gatherings of larger than 250 people. Then that's out of your control.
And even in the event of, let's say by August, like in the unlikely event, right? I know that this is unlikely, but by August, everything's fine, right? Nobody's sick. Everything's fine. It's still not that simple, because depending on where somebody is in their nationwide or worldwide tour, they can't just pull a date and go back to Coachella. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, our good friend Silver Sun Pickups just announced that they are cutting the rest of their tour after tonight's show, I want to say.
Right. It's, and look, like,
they're on the East Coast.
Not that we're economists, but it's got this whole cascading effect, which I know a lot of people know about, but, things like, South by, like, it's not just the staff, it's all of
the restaurants, the bars,
restaurants,
the
and everybody else that makes money out of that.
They rely on that week, the 2-week period.
WonderCon has announced that there is an online component to the Artist Alley so that you can buy art from artists, because a lot of artists travel to places like WonderCon because they make a lot of money. Who knows what's going to happen with Comic-Con in July? That is not that far out. And if it is true that they are saying we may not see some estimates around the vaccine are months in the future. And look, like, don't listen to me. Your best sources, it seems like, for reliable news around this is the CDC and the WHO, right? Those are the legit governmental agencies that have the authority. So please don't take all your news just from us. Just listen to us, like, riff on this.
We're not a doctor, but we play one on TV.
We review them on TV. The thing is, though, I will say this coronavirus is pretty impressive. It's not really going where I think it's going to go.
So many plot twists.
And there are a lot of plot twists. And it's kind of... it's doing some things in the storytelling I don't particularly care for. So I'd say if we were going to give it a score, I'm probably giving it like a 4.
I'm not there yet. I got a much longer list to get through still.
Sorry.
We have not talked about all the movies that have been pushed. I've got a giant list. So, so as Matt mentioned earlier, the new James Bond, No Time to Die, was supposed to have opened in April and has gotten moved to October.
So no time to die, but apparently time to get sick.
Plenty of time to get sick. The new Fast and Furious, Fast 9, won't come out now until next spring.
Wouldn't Dr. No know how to cure?
No. The new Koreeda, Mulan, other movies, many other. So production on a lot of things has been shut down, including CW shut down production on The Flash. Lots of stage, like Hamilton was supposed to have opened in Los Angeles last night. That has been shut down. Lots of other theater, like Book of Mormon, what else? Disneyland. We've not mentioned Disneyland.
Right, Disneyland
has
Disney
been shut
World.
down. They've all been closed down. Universal got shut down. Oh yeah, so mentioning concerts, Matt. Live Nation AEG has suspended all concert tours through the rest of March.
But there will still be a $20 service fee for you to stay home and listen to music.
Very good. Other movies that have been pushed besides Mulan at Disney, New Mutants and Antlers. And then
New Mutants cannot get
a break. And then lots of sports. I know Matt doesn't care about that so much, but like in terms of the economic impact,
my
like
Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Your Chiefs. Now they're your Chiefs. The NCAA tournament has been canceled. The NBA and NHL have canceled the rest of their seasons. Same with
Right.
Major League Soccer.
I'm going to jump in. I like that the NBA originally was like, we're just going to play at empty
Right.
stadiums. Like,
And then LeBron's like, I'm not doing that.
right. And then turns out one of the players,
Right.
from the Utah Jazz,
Right, and he was
got
messing
sick.
with people. So what else? Yeah, so figure skating world championships in Montreal got canceled.
Now, I would think a cold weather sport,
the ice will freeze it out,
right?
And you're wearing gloves. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, they were in Australia for a movie that he's working on. They got infected. They self-quarantined. They are posting updates from there. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction has been postponed. That's supposed to have been in May. Other shows that have shut down production: The Tonight Show, Late Night, Wendy Williams, Jimmy Fallon. So basically everything is just shutting down. And I think, day by day, we're just trying to figure out how to handle this. And the last couple of days have been head spinning. I mean, every minute there's some new thing, and it's hard not to feel overwhelmed. Like, especially as it's pouring rain in LA. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's been raining like the last couple of days, which compounds the mood of just like helplessness.
Right.
And so what I've been trying to do, I'm trying really hard to not be on Twitter all day, and
take Twitter off your phone if you haven't already.
And yet I'm sure you guys all feel this way too. Like I'm in this push pull between like wanting to be informed and engaged because it's as our mandate as citizens, and also feeling totally overwhelmed all the time.
Right. But so I have found that I have been much happier since, and I took Facebook off my phone a year ago.
Did you?
I took Twitter off my phone I took Facebook off about 3 years ago.
Oh.
Now, look, I'm still on Facebook on my computer, but I took Twitter off my phone about a year ago because there's certain things I don't need to have access all the time. But I'm so crazy. I took email off my phone about 3 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
How do people find you?
They can call me or they can text me.
Carrier pigeon.
If somebody needs me in a hurry, they can call me or they can text me. Right. Because the email was doing the same thing, because you get these emails from Facebook and Twitter like, hey, look what's going on. And so it sucks you back in. I have turned the corner on like, yeah, you know what? I only really need the people that I choose to give me that level of contact to be the ones to reach me all the time. Now, if I sit down at my computer or my iPad, that's a different story. I will absolutely be on those platforms, but I'm not walking around with those all day, right? And so having that stuff off my phone has given me a little bit of a break. So I would suggest humbly for your own sanity, maybe experiment for a couple of weeks taking that stuff off. Because again, like with the stuff with Gabe's school being canceled next week, or school at home, it's not that school is canceled.
We're keeping all our kids home.
School at home days, they know how to reach me. Right. And so, my humble advice, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm just some dude, that people sometimes think may have something interesting to say about movies. You can take that stuff off your phone and it'll be okay. Because I believe that the news that you need to get will get to you, and you can always have some other device. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that maybe sometimes their only connections are some mobile device. Not everybody's got a computer, but
yeah, no, it's a good idea. So
you could take Twitter off your phone and log in. Sorry to interrupt.
Right,
you could take Twitter off your phone and have to log into it through a browser.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I do. If somebody has said
desperately,
oh, I need you to check this email. Okay, well then I'll go through the browser and log on to the email through Gmail and look at that. Right. Okay, I'll do that. But that keeps me from having, you know how it is, especially with work email. Like,
it's whack-a-mole.
If we're not careful, you're working 24/7.
Right. Also, so what I have also been trying to do is I'm trying to look at Twitter like in the morning when I first wake up and have coffee, and Chris and I are sitting on our laptops and we're looking at Twitter. I look at Twitter and Facebook then, and then at night. I'm trying not to have those tabs open on my laptop all day. I'm also not listening to news in my car all day, because I was finding that I was listening to MSNBC in the car, like wall-to-wall impeachment coverage and things like that. And like the cumulative toll of that, again, like I want to be informed. It's historic and it matters, and you need to know as a citizen in America now, but also like cumulatively having it constantly. When you remove that, you realize, I was not happy.
No, so I'll listen to NPR because it's not as editorial the regular news shows like All Things Considered and Morning Edition are not as editorially bent as, say, listening to Rachel Maddow, right? Who, as much as I may agree with a lot of her stuff, like, NPR had an epidemiologist on talking about the spread of things, and to go back to talking about schools and things closing down, like, as much as it feels scary, this particular person was talking about, if you look at the history in cities during the Spanish flu epidemic, the schools that were shut down before anyone got sick, those, in a lot of cases, he says, those locations saw less issues, less contagion of the flu before anyone got sick. So I think, what I'm hopeful about is what it sounded to me. And again, like, I'm not saying I'm the authority. Look up, on NPR a couple days ago, they had an epidemiologist. Look at the history. It's on you as much as you want to actually listen to this for the people who are watching and listening. I'm hopeful that we are, in a lot of cases, being proactive and shutting things down. Like, have we seen, have there been examples of, oh my God, this concert had all these things happen? And like, no, that's the smart thing to do, right? Like, they call it, for instance, they call Legionnaire's disease Legionnaires because there was a Foreign Legion meeting. There was a Legionnaires meeting that disease, like, somebody who was the carrier hit, and it spread out everywhere. And they located, like, that's kind of where the patient zero was.
I
so
see.
That's what we're looking at.
There's also a website called Flattening the Curve,
right,
which is really helpful and has good advice. Anyway,
people are going to go crazy in the comments.
Right? Going forward, FYI for you guys, since we are a film review podcast, and one of our listeners, a guy named Jared Diamond, who is a baseball writer for the Wall Street Journal, was like, please keep reviewing movies.
Yes,
we will. We absolutely will.
And so what we're going to Contagion next week.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing the polls. I think Alonzo suggested we make our Patreon poll open to all you guys, so you can help us pick what we review going back to older films.
Right.
But
and
also
we're going to figure that out. I'm sorry to jump in. We're going to figure that out so that our Patreon people don't feel like they're not paying for something that. Right.
We'll still do television.
Right, we're still working out.
Westworld comes out next weekend.
Right. One of the things that we've been talking about doing is just picking some older movies to review, either something that we may have reviewed on What the Flick and isn't on this channel and we want to revisit, or something that maybe a couple of us haven't seen or have seen and have never had a chance to actually review.
We'll pick some catch up.
We'll pick some stuff. And if you guys have suggestions, feel free to send them over. It doesn't necessarily mean we'll take them, but like, for instance, I'm going to try and get us to review Galaxy Quest because Alonzo hadn't seen it till recently. I love that movie. I think it would be fun for us to do.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in many years. And also there's a lot of smaller stuff. I think more and more we're going to be getting things on Screener, and we'll be getting links to things. There are movies that maybe are just available through streaming that I'd like for us to get to, just to keep talking about current stuff. So we're gonna make it work. We're gonna piece it together, and like, God forbid anything happens to any of us, we can call in from our self-imposed quarantine.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna show you something. I'll be right back.
Okay, so Matt is leaving. So I'll tell you about what's happening in our lives. So Nick is here, and he's going to have homework on like a little website, like a little school portal. I'm going to try really hard to get him to do that. Oh my God. Matt is ready for the zombie apocalypse. Here you go.
All right. So I'm totally ready. Just in case. How's this?
So for those of you listening at home, Matt's got the full-on gas mask on. What is that from? Where did you get that?
Man, that thing's dusty. So when I was 13, went with my uncle to England and went to Portobello Road, and I bought that at a not a pawn shop, like a
military supply
like whatever, and they were selling World War II era gas masks.
That's really good. Anyway, we will keep you posted as things keep changing, as we learn more about things that are opening, things that are closing, things that are getting postponed, how Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are doing.
That's really the important thing.
We will keep you, I mean, of all the people in all the world to get coronavirus, like America's most beloved actor, right? Like, if Tom Hanks is not immune.
I mean, Max von Sydow got out just in time.
He's already played chess with death.
He's like, I've already done this movie. I've already talked about, like, no, I'm not fighting this again.
So we will definitely talk about all these things, and let us know how you're doing and how you're coping. And thank you for listening. I will do the Alonzo spiel now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like this video and tell your friends who maybe don't know that What the Flick still exists, that we are here as Breakfast All Day. We are on all the social media places as Be Fast All Day. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay, where we do a poll where we let folks pick what we review. We do a lot of television recaps. This week, we're going to do the last couple of episodes of The Outsider and McMillions because we missed the penultimate ones. And we're going to start with Westworld. And then what other television were we going to do? I feel like there's a bunch of stuff coming out.
Yeah. So, but definitely Westworld season 3.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.